d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, d takes c4, e3, knight f6, knight f3, c5, bishop takes c4, knight c6, castle kingside, c takes d4, e takes d4, bishop e7, bishop f4, castle kingside, rook c1, queen b6, queen d2, rook d8, rook f d1, bishop d7, queen e2, rook a c8, d5, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, king f8, bishop e3, queen a5, bishop b3, bishop e8, knight d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop c6, rook e1, rook e8, queen d3, queen g5, g3, queen h5, rook e5, queen h3, f3, bishop d6, rook takes e8 check, knight takes e8, bishop f2, rook d8, queen c4, queen f5, f4, rook d7, bishop c2, queen a5, bishop takes h7, g6, queen d4, knight g7, g4, bishop e7, queen takes a7, queen takes a7, bishop takes a7, rook d2, f5, rook g2 check, king f1, rook takes g4, f takes g6, f takes g6, h3, rook f4 check, king e2, king f7, rook g1, rook f6, a3, knight e6, bishop takes g6 check, rook takes g6, rook takes g6, king takes g6, b4, bishop f6, king d2, knight f4, king c2, bishop takes c3, king takes c3, knight e6, bishop b6, knight f8, king c4, knight d7, bishop d8, b5 check, king d4, bishop g2, h4, king h5, bishop e7, king g4, bishop d8, bishop f3, bishop e7, bishop d1, king d5, bishop a4, king d6, knight b6, king e6, knight c4, king d5, knight takes a3, king d4, knight c2 check, King E4. Knight E1. Bishop D8. Knight G2. Bishop E7. Knight takes H4. Bishop F8. Knight F5. Bishop C5. Knight G3 check. King E3. King F5. Bishop D6. Knight E4. Bishop B8. Knight F6. King D4. King E6. Bishop G3. Bishop B3. Bishop E1. King F5. Bishop G3. Knight D5. Bishop D6. Bishop C4. Bishop B8. Knight takes B4. King C3. Knight C6. Bishop D6. King E6. Bishop C5. King D5. Bishop F8. King E4. Bishop C5. Knight E5. Bishop F8. Knight G4. Bishop C5. Knight E3. Bishop F8. Knight D5 check. King C2. King D4. Bishop G7 check. King C5. Bishop F8 check. King B6. King B2. King A5. King A3. B4 check. King B2. King A4. Bishop G7. Bishop A6. Bishop D4. Bishop C8. Bishop C5. Knight F4. Bishop D4. Knight D3 check. King B1. King B3. Bishop G7. Bishop G4. Bishop F6. Bishop D1. Bishop G7. Bishop C2 check. King A1. Knight C5. Bishop F8. Knight A4. Bishop G7. Bishop D3. Bishop F8. King C3.